With the anniversary of George Floyd's death being marked tomorrow, activists and leaders are continuing their stand for change and accountability beyond just a verbal promise, but in the form of real action and a plan to combat racism and discrimination. Alex Ihama, Executive Director of the Canadian Congress for Diversity, joins me now. Alex, thank you so much for giving me your time today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
What has this past year been like for you? There's been so much pain that we've seen in our country, in the United States, right around the world, when it comes to incidents of racism and discrimination.
Of course, it's been tough on everybody, and we must recognize that why it's been tough more on people who are racialized minorities, certainly the Black population and the indigenous people as well, another racialized group, even with the Asians that we're seeing. We are also recognizing that it's been tough on, literally other people who may not be racialized, but want to do something about it. We are seeing positions open for diversity consultants, diversity directors in most organizations, and they're all coming together to support the change. So it's a moment of both reflection, still a sad moment, but certainly a moment of hope as well.
Talk to me more about that hope and the progress that you're seeing happening.
Yes, and the hope is, this is the first time in history, really, where you have different ethnicities coming together to fight the same social justice issues. It's the first time. There are areas, even in the US, it is said, we've seen that even on TV and on YouTube, where there are more white people marching in those cities for racial justice for Black people. So that's some hope, right? We're also seeing organizations, like I said, hiring consultants. Like we run an organization where we provide an end-to-end strategic solution for organizations to literally root out systemic racism from the organization, going from both their policies to training, to audit, to reporting, balanced representation, suppliers diversity. So it's huge. This is the first time ever. I've been doing diversity work since 1999. And I can tell you the last year has been the busiest for us.
I can only imagine. And how has that made, as you say, all the groups coming together, really taking that solid stand? How has it made the conversation, the raising awareness, the calling out, if you will, of racism and discrimination perhaps easier, safer?
I don't know if I would say easier.
Okay.
Yeah, because most people, frankly, don't know what to do. It's not something that is taught in school, right?
It should be.
It should be, exactly. It should be, right? So you go through school and to your PhD level, and you've never been talked to about social justice. Now, if you are not minoritized, if you are not racialized, then not at all. Like we teach our kids, like I was telling somebody, I said, even when we see the police and you are still within your speed limit, as a Black person, you hold your breath. So when George Floyd said, I can't breathe, yes, in that situation, he couldn't. But there are still many people today who can breathe no matter who you are, if you are racialized or minoritized. Black people, certainly. Many. So we teach our kids that. I have taught my kids that. My son drives. He's 17. If you see a cop, this attitude you have, don't make sure you keep it to yourself, right? Otherwise, I'll have to come bail you out.
You're going to be launching the National Social Justice Action Day, this on the anniversary of George Floyd's death, asking the federal government to declare a clear, measurable, and accountable plan to end racism in this country. You also want to declare May 25th Social Justice Action Day. Talk to me more about that, Alex. We have heard from the federal governments. There have been days that have been recognized, funds that have been put together. But what does this all really need to look like for you to say this is not just a plan that's on paper, but it's an actual action that we're seeing taking place? As you say, it's been a very, very busy year, taking that and moving it forward.
Yeah, so what we want at this point is no more plans. We've been hearing of plans for far too long, and that is the truth.
Yeah.
So when you hear that $225 million is being put to spend in the next 5 years to gather data, I'm wondering, what data do you need? Like, ask the people. There is enough data. So we take the 225 million people and spend it in areas where there is poverty, areas where, systemic racism are existing. So we want concrete plans. not just from the government. We want concrete plans from the organization. Hiring a diversity consultant is great, but what is your plan? What is your 3-year strategy? How long is it going to take you to literally diversify the leadership team? We are diversifying our financial portfolio, diversify the board of directors. Simple plan is within the next 2 years, when we are going to have a turnover in the board of directors, we promise to have 20% or 30% minority growth. That's a plan. So what we are asking is George Floyd's death, May 25th, tomorrow, let's let organizations that care and even people that care come forward and declare their plans. That's what we're asking. Let it be a social justice action day, not a social justice day, not a social justice conversation day, a social justice action day. What are you going to do as a person? What are you going to do as an executive? What are you going to do as a politician? What are you going to do as a pastor or as a teacher? What is the change you can make? Little, but start from somewhere. No more conversation, no more plans. We want action.
Really quickly, Alex, before I let you go, what does this mean? How critical is this for the next generation?
Without a question, people ask, why do you do this? It's less for us. Like, okay, our time is really going. This is for the young folks. They are children, and we've really reached out to schools and said, tomorrow, bring them in. We are expecting over 1,000 at least. Bring the students in. They don't teach them this in school. They don't teach them both, no matter the race you come from. Nobody's taught about this in school. So it's critical that if we want humanity to continue, if we want the nation of Canada, to continue, that the next generation must be taught, must be aware. The level of awareness must be increased for the next generation. And of course, the policies we are emphasizing are changed. The systems we are emphasizing are literally changed so that it becomes more inclusive. It's for the next generation. But we don't just want to change these policies for them. We want them to be involved in the process. Yes.
Alex, it is so good to have you on the program and to talk to you about this. Alex Ihama, thank you very much for this. We will look forward to the events tomorrow, and we'll keep that conversation going.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless you.